Listen to this episode if your business is not feeling as fun as when you started. As a founder, it is on us to protect our energy and to enjoy our business. And I have really started to hear this a lot is you've built the business that you wanted, your revenue started to grow, you maybe built a team, you have things working, but instead of being more and more excited, your buzz and your excitement has kind of worn off. You kind of start to feel flat, uninspired, kind of like you just started a 9-to-5 for yourself. You feel a little disconnected, almost like bored of the thing that you've built. And today we're really going to tackle why I often see that this is and what this often comes back to. A lot of founders think that something is wrong with them or the business that they built, or maybe that they built the wrong business, but that's actually not the case. Sometimes, of course, it is, but in a general sense, we are going to talk about why, for a very common reason, many people start to feel uninspired. My first question for you right now, just to really set the scene of this episode, if someone were to give you a job description of your job that you are doing in your business right now, would you take that job? Would you take that job for $50,000? Would you take that job for $100,000? Would you take that job for $30,000? Of course, we cannot love every task that we do, but if your answer to that is, hell no, Maddie, I would literally never want to do this for anybody else. There's no way I would ever agree to a job like this episode is for you. This should not be your baseline. Yes, of course, there's going to be the days that you have to do accounting, or there's going to be days that you have these tasks or some fire that you have to put out that you don't want to deal with. There's going to be days you don't feel well. There's going to be days you just feel uninspired. We're talking about having uninspired as more of your baseline, of you just kind of I'm just kind of going through the motions. I feel like I kind of built a 9-to-5. Today, we're talking about why the advice you've gotten is wrong, how to audit your business, what you need to change, and how the heck do we bring your spark back? Because you shouldn't feel like your business is just another 9-to-5 that you have basically started that has a lot more responsibility on you, because it's also probably lower paying than the 9-to-5 you could be having. Before we dive into this, I just want to take 10 quick seconds to say hello. My name is Madison Page. Just in case you're new here, I just want to say I'm so happy to have you. I am the host of the Business Growth Podcast, and I am a business growth specialist. I work with consumer brands to help them build a household name within their industry. If you're here, you are somebody that's looking to rise to the tippy top, and that is why we're here. And those are the conversations that we have here as well. Make sure that you subscribe to the show. We put out new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, and we have some really exciting stuff in the future here. I am so excited about some of the guests that we have coming up. So the advice that everybody gets that's often wrong, or at least just misguided or taken incorrectly, is that you need to delegate everything. Hire people, get out of the weeds of your business. The things that you're doing on your day-to-day, you need to basically hire out and have somebody else do. This isn't necessarily wrong, but what often happens is the question that you're asked is, what do you spend the most amount of your time doing on a day-to-day basis when you're starting your business? Because when you're starting your business feels fun. You're buzzing, you're kind of going, like, all right, this feels great. And now you've been in it for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever that looks like. And that buzz is kind of worn off. Now it's just your normal day-to-day thing that you're supposed to be doing. And you have a lot of these responsibilities. But what often happens in the beginning is you're doing the things that excite you. You're like, oh my gosh, this feels fun. That feels fun. This feels fun. And then you start to hear this message of delegate everything. What is on your list? What's taking the most of your time? Delegate it, delegate it, delegate it. So what often happens is you start to delegate the thing that you actually love. You start giving away the things that kind of lit you up, because why? Those are the things that you are doing the most of in the beginning of your business. So you start to actually have to spend your day doing all of the tasks that you dislike and that you were putting off before. This happens for brands without a huge team as well. Is your business as the founder, you start doing fun things in the beginning. I did this too, is I played a little bit here and I played a little bit here and I played a little bit there. And I would, get these creative flows and I would just do all of these random things. And now you start to see what's working. You start to see what's necessary, and you kind of give up on all those little fun side quests that you used to do. So no matter if you have a team or not, this is going to resonate with you. I want you to think right now about what you enjoy doing the most at the beginning of your business. A lot of times I hear things like product creation, marketing, content, maybe graphic design, designing the website, creative thinking, branding, customer connection, having conversations with them. And a lot of times, what are the first places that people hire are marketing, social media, production, creative, customer service, all of the things that we also just talked about. And suddenly you're the founder and you're stuck in like data and numbers and strategy and HR and operations and supply chain. And the things that you used to want to put off are now the things that are basically fully on your list. So instead of doing the creative work you love, you basically kind of diluted it. And so founders often are spending time on operations, finances, HR, management, all of the stuff that a creative hates. And this could also be vice versa. This could also be that you are a big data person because your girl is a strategy gal. I love the strategy. I love the mapping of it out. I love being in the weeds of figuring out the logistics. And, I am on the other side of this. And if I hired out all of my strategy where all of a sudden everybody was just coming up with the topics I'm talking about and doing my marketing for me, I also obviously love the delivery of my business. Like if I hired out coaching, because that's what I spend the most amount of my time in, I would be like, why am I doing this? Like I started this business to talk to people and to coach people. It's not something I can hire out because that's where my enjoyment lies. Similarly, if you don't have a big team, this can also be that you just kind of put off all of the things that you used to really enjoy because they just didn't quite make sense for you to do because, your list got longer, you have all of this other stuff, and you end up just being stuck kind of working on the business. You end up spending the most of your time on the tasks that drain you instead of light you up. No wonder you're feeling burnt out and uninspired. It's because all day long, all you do is you have people coming to you, asking you little questions, coming to you with fires, complaining about little things, and you are kind of like the emotional shirk of your entire team. Like you are the person that everybody comes to. And then put on top of that everything else in life, and maybe you're a mom or you have a partner or you're just living life as a person, is all of a sudden everything that you're involved in is kind of just draining, and you kind of slowly become almost disconnected from the part of the business that lit you up, that fueled you. And so your business actually starts to feel a little lackluster. Of course, I just want to talk about here, I'm not talking about chronic burnout. I'm not talking about somebody that's working 100 hours a week here. And of course, that is absolutely a factor to feeling uninspired, is if you're actually working too much and you're not actually taking time for yourself ever, then that's a whole other conversation. That is a little bit more of some chronic burnout that we have to talk about. I have many episodes on that. But what we really have to do is, it's a similar conversation, is if you have taken out all of the fun out of your life, no wonder you are uninspired. How do you get re-inspired? Is you have more fun. We bring these things back into your life. When people are either overworking themselves and taking all of the fun out of their personal life, or they've taken all of the fun out of their business, and or both of those things, I often start to hear people say, I kind of feel like I have a 9 to 5. My business just isn't as fun as it used to be. I kind of wish I was back at the early days where it was gritty and kind of fun. I'm just not excited about my business anymore. Does that mean that it's broken? Does that mean I should shut it down? Does that mean I've built the wrong business? It's not because your business has stopped being interesting. It's because your role in the business has developed into something that you no longer think is interesting. And if you've been a part of my world for any amount of time, that I have something here that I like to call the freepreneur lifestyle. The freepreneur lifestyle is all about building work-life balance, enjoying your life, and remembering that we built this business for freedom and fun and passion. And so if your business feels anything other chronically, 80 to 90% of your time, if it feels anything other than fun and freedom and excitement, we need to really take back our business a little bit. And again, of course, I have a bunch of accounting things I have to do today. Don't want to do it. I have a lot of emails that I have to answer. I don't want to do those either. There's always going to be things I don't want to do in business, but what I absolutely protect are the things that I absolutely do want to do. I put them on my calendar and I stick to them. The founders who stay energized long-term in their business do something differently. They don't remove themselves from the work that they love. They actually protect it. They build their role as the founder around the activities that they absolutely want to hold on to. The ones that energize them, inspire them, allow them to stay in their zone of genius. They delegate the tasks that drain them. They delegate on their weaknesses. This is where that phrase, hire for your weaknesses, comes in, because oftentimes we hire another us. We hire somebody that's good at the things that we're doing, or because we like the creative, we hire somebody that's even better than us at the creative. We hire somebody that's even better than us at the product development. When we're really looking at this, is we often hire out the things that we are already good at. So instead, I want you to think about hiring for your weaknesses. Delegation shouldn't look like removing yourself from your business and the things that you enjoy. It should look like protecting that zone of genius. So a question I want you to ask right now is, what are you really good at? And then what do you really love to do that actually brings you light and lights you up on your normal day-to-day basis? And how often in your business right now are you doing those things? Probably rarely, if not never. Because oftentimes when we feel uninspired, it's because we don't have tasks on our day-to-day list that are actually inspirational for us. They're not actually exciting us. If product excites you, you stay close to product and you develop product. If the branding lights you up and you love the photography and you love the creation, you love the creativity of all of the stuff, you hold on to that and you stay close to it. Maybe you have somebody doing it, but you're still giving them the direction. If storytelling energizes you, keep creating stories. You are writing the content or you're writing the emails. If you love to write as a hobby, let's see how we can get that stuff in your business. I don't want you to hire where your strengths and your excitement already is. I want you to hire for the things that you are not good at and that drain you, because I want you to be the best version of yourself. So I want you to ask yourself, if you have a team, if you don't have a team right now, I want you to remove all of the thoughts from your brain of the current state of your business. I want you to think of yourself right now and look at that and say, in a perfect world, what would running my business look like? What would I enjoy and what would I have to do? Is that you could create? Is that you are in your data? Is that you're creating all the content and you just you basically are just the face of the brand that's in a lot of content and podcasts? Or are you the person that's developing the products and taking product photos and whatever that might be? What in the perfect world does your business role look like? If it's okay, I'm going to interrupt this podcast for 30 quick seconds to let you know about the Founders Cafe. It is my completely free podcast community where you can gain access to bonus resources, gain access to me and free coaching calls, as well as build a network of other business owners just like yourself. Business ownership is a lonely game, and we might as well build community, build a network, and have a space to collaborate. We can bring this conversation and all the other conversations we have on this podcast over into this free podcast community and make this a two-way street. I would love to answer your questions there, connect with you, see you on our next free coaching call. Click the link in the show notes and you'll find the link there. And now I want you to think of the things that are naturally the things that you are going to have to do. Now, of course, it depends on how big of a team you have. If it's just you, there are absolutely non-negotiables that you're going to have to do that actually make your business run. If it's just you and your business, what I want you to do right now is grab a 3-hour block on one of your days, whether it's an evening, a morning, I don't care, a Saturday morning, doesn't matter. I want you to put the 3-hour block and I want you to put in fun. I want you to put in just block. Nothing else can happen within those 3 hours. You hold it. It is a boundary and you do your most fun stuff in those hours. You have so much fun with it. Whether that is you're just poking around. I love just developing new things and poking around. So I have time and space. I have a full Friday once a month in my calendar that I literally have fun, create, and poke around. I say, okay, what haven't I really had the time to do? I love developing new things and improving things and reorganizing things. And that's what I do. Sometimes I go into Notion and I just play with it. I've really had to do this whole big pivot. And so I go and I do it. I really love that development, but sometimes I'm so in on my coaching or I'm so in on creating content that I can't actually go and do some of those things. So I put it in my calendar and I protect it. If you do have a team, I want you to look at your role and your team right now. And I want you to see, have you hired little yous in different areas, Or have you actually hired for your weaknesses? I don't want you to ask, what should I delegate? I want you to ask, what parts of business give me energy? And what parts of business actually drain me? And how can we get out of more of the things that drain you? Because I want you to design your roles around the activities that you want to do. The founder's energy sets the tone for the rest of the company. So if you are uninspired, your team is going to be uninspired. If you're uninspired, your results are going to be uninspiring. If you are uninspired, everything is going to feel like it's just getting done. It's not going to feel like it's actually doing very well. When the founder feels uninspired, the brand tends to feel less alive. But when you're excited and you're having fun, your energy comes through in everything that you do, your team, your marketing, your results, everything. So if you have a team that you already have done and built, I want you to zoom out and look at it. And I want you to see, where have you all hired for? Maybe you need to start taking back some of the things that you loved, whether that means you have to find a different person or you have to lay one person off, because that's actually the role that you really want to have. I see people oftentimes hire like a creative director way too early in their business when they themselves are a creative individual. Oftentimes you just need an executor. You might just need to have somebody that you say, hey, go create a graphic like this. You're looking for a graphic designer. You're not looking for a creative director. So oftentimes I see people outsource the design or the photography or, the product creation, all of those things, whatever it is on the list of things that you really love, I want you to keep. If you have just evolved and stopped doing the fun stuff in your business, I just want you to put it on your calendar and stick to it. A brand cannot thrive with an uninspired founder. You have to be the driving force, and being a driving force requires some level of spark. And I know right now you're like, I feel like, Maddie, I might be a long ways away from feeling spark in my business. I feel like I'm a long ways away from, feeling super excited. Where excitement comes, where spark comes, is actually from time away. I know you hear me talk about burnout a lot. Obviously, I'm a big proponent of never feeling burnt out. Again, they pop up. It's a forever practice. But I am talking to the people that feel like they've just kind of lost their spark. Whether you are working 100 hours a week and it's much too much, or maybe you're just, the job you're doing is just not the job that you really want, and you kind of feel like you've just lost the spark and like the excitement for the business in general. What you have to do and what your role is for you to protect your spark at all times, because your team, your ideas, and your baby that is this business needs to stay sparky. It needs to stay fun. If you are feeling uninspired, everything else is just going to start feeling lackluster. Many brands have two leaders. And I just want to bring this to you. Hear me talk about how every brand requires strategy and creative all the time. Building a business is figuring out how to balance the art and the strategy of business. It's figuring out how to balance the branding and the growth strategy and the creative with the marketing and, the really fun kind of aesthetic side of stuff and the data and what actually makes sense. We're balancing the emotional and the logical all of the time. This is why the best businesses have a duo. If you don't know this, go and look at any of your favorite businesses out there. They may have been the creative, so they hired somebody that was a strategy person, or maybe they were the strategy and they hired a creative. So like Walt Disney, his brother was his strategy person and he was the CEO, I believe, for a really long time. You look at Bloom Nutrition, his wife was the creative, Mari. She was the face of the brand. She was the creative director for a very long time. He was the growth person. They now have a $200 million+ business because they were able to balance these two things, because a creative brain doesn't really thrive in strategy and a strategy brain doesn't really thrive in creative. So you might just need to find the yin to your yang instead of hiring somebody that is doing the things that you are really liking and enjoying. If you feel uninspired in your business, it doesn't necessarily mean that you built the wrong business. I don't want you to put this feeling into the actual business in and of itself. When you feel uninspired, if I were to take a step back and I were to say, do you still love your product? Do you still think it has a place in the market? Do you still think that this is a brand that you really love? Oftentimes your answer to that is yes. That tells me that the actions that you're taking are the actions that you are not actually enjoying, that it's much more of the role that you have created. And this might be a big can of worms that I'm opening for you today. I just want to put that out there. I might be opening the can of worms that you might have to fire people. You might have to rework people's roles. You might have to look at your business and have a real hard conversation with yourself and say, I have hired the wrong people. And you have to go and hire new people. We have to find different people, but understanding that a happier you, a more sparky you, a more inspired you is on the other side of those changes. And that is absolutely worth it. Business is going to be a learning experience over and over again, and understanding if you don't protect the things that you love and the things that you enjoy, whether it's in your personal life, your professional life, it doesn't matter. If you give up everything that feels really fun for you, life is going to stop feeling fun, because if you're stuck in these activities that just drain you, you are going to consistently be drained. And so understanding that you are not broken, this is just a broken system that we have accidentally created here. Sometimes it just means that you've drifted too far away from the parts of your business that actually made you fall in love with it in the first place. And now we need to reconnect with those parts, and it can change everything. If you look at it, the most powerful founders out there are not the ones that removed all of their fun and spark outside of their business. So like people like me, I love sitting down and getting in the weeds and creating a strategy. If that's you, you should be offloading the content side. You might have to put into buckets that, for me, I have time that I do all the things that I don't really want to do. And I put it in there because we do have to do things. I'm not saying you're never going to have to do anything you don't want to do again. It would be great if you didn't. But in this scaling phase, as a founder, you're going to have to do some things that aren't very fun or exciting, but you do at least need to protect it in a percentage of your time in your business. No matter when you grow, how big you grow, that is something that will forever remain the same, is you have to protect the things that light you up. And the things that light you up might change over time, and that's okay. But that is how you bring back your spark as a business owner when you feel like you have now built yourself a 9-to-5. This is a stage that I talk with many of my clients through. I can tell oftentimes when this is happening prior to it actually happening, because I've seen it so many times. People come to me and they start saying, Maddie, do you actually think my business can be successful? Maddie, do you actually think this is a good idea? Like, Maddie, when is this going to start to be fun again? I start to get these Maddie, I kind of feel like I've built a 9-to-5 and I'm just I'm kind of burnt out. I feel like I'm lacking inspiration. And we basically do this exercise where, what do you really want your business to do? Or what do you really want to do in your business? What are you good at? What are your energy givers? And then what are your energy takers? And then what out of the energy taker list can we outsource to somebody else? What are your, the things that you have to be able to do? And then where can we put it into buckets where you are absolutely still doing the things that you want to be doing in your business? Because you have to be doing those things. We have to have time for you to really be in those categories, because our brains need creativity. They need spark. They need excitement. They need fun. And if you take all of that out of your life and your business, you're just going to be left drained and disconnected from everything. And that's probably why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. This is a conversation that we're going to bring over to the Founders Cafe, which is my free podcast community where we dive deeper into all of these topics. We give bonus resources, extra guided questions, things like that. I would love to have you over there. You can click the link in the show notes and join us over in our school community. I would love to have you there. We do a lot of bonuses, giveaways, things like that, and extra free coaching from me. So hop in there. Would love to have you in there. We're going to be diving in there. That's where I'm going to head after this episode goes live. I hope this was helpful for you. I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm in your corner always, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Business Growth Podcast. We put out new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. So if you love this one, make sure that you're subscribed so you never miss a conversation. If you want more conversations with me and other business owners, make sure that you join our completely free podcast community, the Founders Cafe. The link is in the show notes. You can get bonus resources, access to free coaching calls, as well as connect with like-minded business owners like yourself. Make sure that you rate and review the podcast 5 stars, share it with a friend to keep those conversations moving, and come back every Tuesday and Friday. I'll see you there.